Anyway, you said something very important in your intro that you are now an analyst, a public affair analyst, something like that, if I'm not mistaken. So from there, I'm going to ask your opinion because the people are depending on people like you who are analyzing the situation because sometimes the information that the people have on their hands are very complex. They are crude. They are not explained enough. So we need people who can break it down for them, like you just did, so that ordinary people can understand it. So from this grant, I'm going to ask you, what is your take of the election? How do you assess it? What do you see? How do you feel about it? Let me understand that.
Well, to start with, if you check I want to start from the participation of citizens in this election. You'll discover that in 2015 and 2019, the percentage of Nigerians that came out to vote increased tremendously. One, because the youth demographic for the first time discovered that at least the political, how will I put it now, that they reminded themselves that the political system is not tailored to address their needs. So for that alone, the youth, let me tell you, came out in large numbers during the continuous voters registration exercise. And people imagine that this was fueled by the experiences during the NSAS protest of the last quarter of 2020. And that they use it was like, look, let us, as the acclaimed leaders of tomorrow, let us take our destiny in our own hands. And how are we going to do that? It is to ensure that we register, it is to ensure that we collect our PVCs, and it is to ensure that we come out en masse to exercise our franchise. And that is to vote according to our conscience and determination to ensure that those we are judged to be credible, those who have integrity, those who are honest, those who have precedence, they have delivered on their mandate, either in their public or private lives, are the ones we are going to elect. That was exactly what happened. And even outside that, don't forget that right now in the country, there's angst. At least a lot of us, most Nigerians, are not happy with the state of affairs in this country. Honestly, you know, there is every scarcity in Nigeria. Naira scarcity, fuel scarcity, and of course, hunger is working on all fours. Say insecurity. So at the time you aggregate all of this, people were propelled to say, look, we cannot continue in the old order. And so we are going for a paradigm shift that we are going to ensure that at least we push in a new order to ensure that at least the integrity of this country, the unity of this country, and the progress of this country is enhanced. So by that, at least, like I said, I quite agree. And I saw, because I was in the field, that people trooped out in large numbers to exercise their franchise. So as for participation, it was huge. The apathy that we dealt with in 2015 and 2019, you will discover that at least it was shifted to the background because of all these points I have just analyzed. So to me, my take was that at least where you want to measure on the yardstick, or say a scale of 1 to 10 on participation of citizens, eligible voters, I want to tell you that I'll rank it 8.
All right. The people participated, the people came out. Of course, it is evidence. I think it is even very natural looking at the demography or looking at the population demography in Nigeria, which is very high in terms of younger people. And yet we begin to sometimes only look for who is the oldest in the country to represent the country. And of course, by representation now, we're looking for who is going to be running errand. Because in Nigeria, the president is the number one employee of the country. He is not the owner of the country. He's a laborer. He's working for the country. And by that, it means that he should be running errand for the country. And by that, of course, we will look if the highest demography in the country are younger people. We don't need to be sending errand to an old man now because you cannot run for the country. You are too old to run for the country. But yet, by some strange reason, the kingmakers in Nigeria decide that they want to put somebody that is as old as Tinubu as the leader of the country. Well, I don't know. I think I feel that it look a little awkward because now he's not even sworn in yet as a president. We're already thinking of him being sent abroad for medical treatment and the rest of him. I'm not saying anybody is immune from that, but in the normal course of life, when you are young, there are certain things that you do. When you are old, there are also certain things that you do. So, based on this, do you think the will of the people was actually respected in this election? Again, I'm asking from the point of view of an analyst and as a Nigerian, not just because you are speaking from the office of the National Orientation Agency. Of course, you can also speak from that.
You see, I want to let you know, first and foremost, our listeners, that age is of the mind. Age is of the mind in the sense that when you take an analysis of world leaders, you're starting from the United States of America. How old is he? When you go to, in those days, when you go to the defunct Soviet Union, that's USSR, even up till now, their leaders are always above 60, 65, or 70 on the average. And across the world too, even in Israel, though they are beginning to be young now, and some other countries. So what I mean to say is, the issue of age to me does not really matter. And then what we should look at is the competence, the capacity, the knowledge. Yes, you cannot divorce experience from knowledge. The two are symbiotic. They are twins. And so when you could even have a younger person who is knowledgeable but has no experience, but you could have an aged or a geriatric who has the experience but has no requisite knowledge. So if you are deficient, if there is a deficit, then there will be a problem. And so the issue of Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, to me, age is of no consequence. Age is of no consequence. It is when you want to begin to talk of, all the do I say the unhealthy baggages people ascribe to him. But don't forget that the constitution which we run in this country, there's a presumption of innocence. He's corrupt, he's this, he's that, he's sick. Like now, he jetted out to Europe yesterday, and the social media is abuzed and awash with unverified news and information that he's been flown abroad for medical attention. That it may not be true, it could be correct, but there is a statement from his media office that he was going to take a rest. Even if I quarrel with that, take a rest for more. We have a country, at least Asiwaju Ahmed Bola Tinubu is not a poor man by measure and by standard, and I believe that at least he has mansions are furnished to the, let me say to the taste or even 10-star hotels. There are places, tourist destinations in Nigeria here that he could take his time off as president-elect. He would be given all security cover. Obudo is there. There are so many places that you could mention that if you really want to take a well-deserved rest after transversing, the nooks and crannies of this country, the campaign, definitely for his age, I mean, whether you like it or not, it will have a telltale, sign on his health, on his body physically. So he needs to actually take a rest. But going abroad, if you ask me, I don't subscribe to it. Because this is the time for him to actually sit down. He is talking of reconciliation. You don't talk of reconciliation and then you leave your immediate constituency and you go abroad. To reconcile who? How are you going to begin the reconciliation? He should be here for people for him to consult. This is even they say it is an acclaimed bridge builder. It is now for him to actually build on those bridges, reach out to his opponents. Even within his party, there are discordant tunes. Reach out to them, settle your home, settle the outside front and all to prepare for his inauguration. And that is how I look at it. So coming to the competence, maybe electing a geriatric to lead us. Like I said, I don't have a problem with that. Now, it is when we begin to talk of the process, I heard you talk of whether the will of the people actually mattered, whether it counted. Now, the issue now is subdued this because one can no longer actually comment on it as one would have loved to, because the aggrieved parties PDP, LP, AA, and APM, or ARM, all of them have filed their cases before the tribunal.